All right, we're here with Chris Blakey for an Atelier talk. How you doing, Chris?
Doing well, thanks. Yeah, it's a nice rainy morning. Um, hanging in there.
Yeah, interesting time. How have you been holding up with the kind of being isolated?
Well, doing reasonably well. Mary and I go on bike rides every couple of days, every other day if we can when it's not raining, and you know, reading, playing my guitar,
Yeah,
stuff like that.
definitely.
Yeah. How
How?
about you?
Yeah, doing okay. It's nice to have the studio still. So been working on some music and everything, but so it's definitely a little different.
Yeah.
Has it been? Have you been able to stay creative?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, to some extent, yeah. I mean, I just started trying to write a song a couple days ago, and I think I'm making a little progress. Kind of it's kind of got to start, I think. So yeah, I think so. I think so. Um, Tentatively, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, hard to know, right?
Right.
Yeah, and from when we've talked before, usually songs will like you'll have an idea or you'll have some lyrics for a song, and is that how it usually starts?
Well, yeah, that's a great question. This time, it seems like it's evolving for me, actually.
Mm.
Um, uh, the the little riffs or little chord changes seem to kind of get me started these days,
Ah,
which is not how it when I a few years ago when I first started writing songs. It seemed to go the other way. I would get some words and then I would try to put some music to it. But now it seems like it's a more holistic thing where I'll I don't know, I'll just be thinking about starting a song and I'll some little chord change thing will happen and I'll think that I like that, and then let's try to fit some words to that. So that's kind of what's happening. And then the one I've just started, I didn't I had some ideas about what kind of a song I might want to write, but then I found this little change and then these other words just came,
wow.
and which were completely different than anything I had really um, consciously, in
Mm.
plan. So it seems like it's going to be a really, if it if it takes and holds, because you never know for sure. It's going to be a different than what I expected, but kind of connected with, I think, what's going on in the world right now a little bit.
Wow. Yeah. And like without you planning it to be. That's interesting. Yeah, I've kind of experienced that too, where like the music puts you in a certain mindset that maybe
Hmm.
you weren't trying to be put in, and the lyrics will start to come from where the music is.
Yeah. I mean, that I think that happened to me the first time about a year ago when I found this really cool little riff just kind of accidentally, but it just had this feel to it that was just just relaxing and nice, and
Mm.
so that was a song that ended up being entitled "Dreaming on a Breeze," and
Ah,
it just kind of wrote itself. It was kind of
yes.
like surprising, but it could have just had this feel. But anyway, yeah. So anyway, that's sort of where things stand now. It's
Very
always
cool.
changing. Yeah.
Yeah, and this new song, does it have a kind of theme or a title yet?
Well, it doesn't really even have a title yet, but I can kind of see sort of where it's going. The the repeating phrase right now is something like, "But the world keeps going round, round, and round."
Mm.
And so it's kind of like the idea so far, is that kind of want to get off, but it just goes round and round and round. And um, it just no matter no matter what you do, turn it upside down, goes round, round, round.
Mm.
You it's just not going to stop. It's not going to stop for anybody.
Yep.
but that may not be the end of the story, you know. I mean, there's also something we can. I kind of want to, I kind of like to keep something, I don't know, positive or optimistic in my songs, you know. So it's not meant to be. At least I'm not trying. I'm not looking towards something like goes round and round and round and nothing we can do about it. But rather,
Yeah.
let's get on. Let's kind of get on with it and do what we can do, you know, or something kind of like that. So that's kind of where I'm hoping it goes, you know. So.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of John Mayer's "Stop This Train." I don't know. Have you heard that song?
Oh, I've probably heard it, but I don't know it by name. Yeah.
Well, he kind of. I feel like he kind of uses train as a metaphor for that.
Oh, yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
it's kind of like don't stop this train. Yeah, sort of thing. And it's cool. He like talks about like, you know, wanting to get off, but then like later in life, as you grow, you're like, it's okay. Like you don't have to stop the train. Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And yeah, so I feel that though. It almost at the beginning, it can be kind of dark, a dark thought, because it's like you can't escape it. You know, it's not necessarily in your control.
Yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
then I like where you're at. It seems like you're trying to see the silver lining, and get the good within, yeah, within
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
that being stuck basically.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Try to find. Yeah. You want to find something that is you know, upbuilding somehow, right?
Mm-hmm.
And meaningful, right? Or something like that. And so I don't know. I guess that's kind of partly who I am. So it kind of comes out in the songs. You know, but you don't want it to be you know, you don't want it to be corny either, you know. So you know, you don't want it to be cheesy.
Yeah. So it takes a lot of patience, right?
It does. A lot of patience. A lot of patience. Yeah. And I was just thinking about things a little bit. I find that you kind of have to just try. I mean, not that it works every time, but you kind of have to trust it, right? You kind of have to start and just kind of, okay, you know, see where it's going, and then you have to kind of let it. You have to let it develop and settle, you know, because I find that when you if you kind of just keep spending time with it, little things kind of suggest themselves, right? And you kind of, oh, okay, yeah, this could work, you know, this could go here, maybe work this in. And if you don't give yourself time for those things to happen, then like they won't happen.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of a ridiculous way to say it, but yeah, you have to kind of be patient and let it let it settle and work its way, and yeah, things, you know, kind of like that. Patience.
Yeah. But I feel like a lot of the suggestions that come can be kind of cheesy or corny.
They can be.
So it's kind of hard to, like, you can't be too critical, right? Or it can be frustrating, I feel like.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it can be really frustrating. Yeah. I remember talking to, oh gosh, she was, you know, those little shows we did, the one at at the church and the one at the school.
Yeah,
And she,
Atelier sessions.
yeah, that's right. And she's a piano player, and
Erin.
Aaron, yeah,
Yeah,
Aaron, and
Wurtenberg.
what's that?
Her last name is Wurtenberg.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Erin, yeah, what a nice lady. But we were talking about songwriting then. I remember she was telling me she's been writing songs for a long time, and she said so often she just sits there and thinks, this is terrible. This is just so bad. But then like she's written like I think hundreds of songs, you know, in her life. So you know, you just kind of have to wait it out usually.
Mm. Yeah, I'm working on one too, and it kind of took me a long time to write during this period. Um, but sometimes what distracts me is I'll write something that sounds like someone else,
Mm-hmm,
and it's
mm-hmm.
really tough for me to get over that
Yeah.
distraction. it's yeah, as soon as I'm like, oh wow, this piano thing sounds like something the Fray would do, or
Yeah,
maybe has done, and I don't even know, right? It could be
right,
an exact ripoff.
right.
Um, and I'm just like,
Intentional. Yeah,
and it's so much work to write a song, right? Like so much patience and time that like if something sounds like something else, sometimes I'm like, maybe it's not worth it because at the end of the day, it's just gonna be like a Coldplay riff, right? But but it's gonna take me like 3 hours to find like the message within it, right?
that is funny. But yeah, no, that's really true. And I think that's, I mean, I've found that as well. In fact, I think the last song I wrote, I got really stuck on that. I think we actually talked about it. Yeah. It sounded like something that I forget what song it was, but then my other thought
Was
when
it
I,
La Bamba? Is that the one we were
well, that
talking
I kind of, that was one of the
about?
tributaries that we came back from, right? I was
Oh,
like,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, can't do that. Didn't work. But yeah, but it did sound like a bum. But the other version also sounded like something too, and ended up kind of going that direction. But uh, but yeah, but my other another a thought that is related to that though that kind of helps me deal with that is that there are only um, you know 12 notes, right?
Mm,
And and they've been put together in ways historically that sound good, you know,
mm, mm,
generally. And so there are only the ones that sound good get used over and over again, and the ones that we're worried about sounding like they use the ones that somebody else did many times before
yeah,
them.
yeah,
So I mean, I'm speaking generally, and it's not exactly like that, but there's some truth in that. And so I think, okay, it's all right, you know,
yeah,
it just sounds good and people know it and it's okay.
yeah,
As long as there's something from me in it that makes it different than what the other folks did, then it's probably okay. Because I
definitely.
think I think one of the things that, if at least for me, one of the things that is one of the biggest barriers is feeling like I've got to do something completely
Mm,
unique,
mm,
or else it's not worth it.
yeah,
And I think that's just false.
mm,
I think that's just false because well, for a lot of reasons, but one, we're all human beings, and I do have a lot in common with everybody else, and our music tastes are in common, and there are all these things that are all these ideas, songs, tunes, sounds that we all use, right? And so it's okay, and we all have in common, and we're all similar in a lot of ways, right? So if I was, you don't want to be completely unique, because if you were, then you probably wouldn't be part of the human race or something, so
ah,
so it's okay to be like other people in a
ah,
positive way, right? Kind
yeah,
of.
yeah, yeah. It's kind of unifying us.
Yeah, 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 right. It's kind of unifying. Yeah, exactly.
So when people come up and
Kind of
they're like,
community,
"Hey,
right?
you sound exactly like so and so," you can be like, "That's great. I love
Yeah,
so and
yeah.
so."
That's funny. Well, yeah, that's
And then
the
when
other
they
side
try
of
and take your money, then what?
that's the other side of it. Yeah. I guess you kind of don't want that, right? But
Take all your copyrights, and you're like, "Oh, well."
I guess some kind of a balance in between, right? Something like that.
Definitely. Yeah. No, I feel that. That's encouraging. Yeah, the one I've been writing, it sounds kinda similar to something like Coldplay would do or the Fray would do. But I think you're right. I think it's more important to push through that, and, it came to me for a reason, right?
Yeah.
And I like it, right? That's part of it too. I like it,
Hmm.
and there's kind
Yeah.
of a message within there, right, that I'm
Yeah.
not really aware of yet, like what you were saying. And
Yeah.
so it's important to kinda just, like, to go through it, to follow through, not try and escape something, that was given to me. It's interesting that people talk about that a lot, like the creative ideas don't come from you, they come from some people used to think they were like spirits,
Hmm.
like visiting you, and if you were sharp enough, you could like get a hold of them, right? Or grasp them before they kept flying.
Yeah, yeah. That's right. That's like in my philosophy classes, we talk about um, uh, Plato, or actually Socrates, and
Oh.
how he the work where he's on trial, right? And he's on trial for being for kind of questioning the authorities and stuff, right? And he said he was trying to find somebody. It's a long story, but it's about wisdom, right? And he's trying to find somebody who's wiser than he is, because he's kind of in trouble
Mm.
because he's been called, supposedly thinking that he's very wise and stuff. So he said he goes to the poets, and
Mm.
he wants to see if he's talking to the poets, and he realizes that their works are fantastic, they're beautiful and all this, but they can't even tell you what they wrote about, because it's revelation. It's this stuff they get from the air, right? And which kind of fits with what you were saying. So he
Yeah.
goes, they don't really, they write great stuff, but they're not very wise.
Yeah. Wow. That's so interesting. Yeah. Yeah. It's cool. I think there's something cool about that, and it's kind of humbling too, because then you don't really see yourself. You see it as you're the only one that could make something like this. It's your thing, but more so you see it as this gift, right, from the universe. And if you're able to capture it and articulate it and share it, then the world can be made richer, right?
Right, right. Yeah, yeah, that's good. Yeah, I really like your attitude, your perspective on that, because I always kind of get caught up with wondering, like, who wants to hear this, right?
Mm.
And like, who cares, right? This is like, not, but that's another barrier, right, that I have to run through. But
Hmm.
but you remind me that there is something that might be worth hearing, that people might care about, that there's something that I need to get over that, right?
Mm.
And let people hear it. So
Yeah.
it's really helpful when I hear that stuff from you.
Mm. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for a while there, I thought it was just for myself, and it definitely was. Music can help you process certain pain or help you navigate through things that you don't understand. But then, um, but man, getting the courage to share it it was pretty took me a long time.
Yeah.
'Cause it's kind of vulnerable stuff.
Yeah.
But then, and sometimes you share things and it just doesn't really land or resonate with people. But
Hmm.
then,
Hmm.
but sometimes so clearly, like we had a time where we played, and this girl had come up to Sam right after we played, and she was just in tears.
Mm.
She didn't really. They ended up talking for a while, so I'm sure that she could figure out why. But it seemed like when she came up, she didn't know why. But it just
Hmm.
emotionally something kind of hit,
Yeah.
and and yeah, and it was just music. We weren't talking about our music that much that night. It was at Republic Pie, so just kind of
Hmm.
playing, right? And so
Yeah.
I think just something in the rhythm, something in the melodies, and yeah.
Yeah. You just never know, right? And there was another thing that helps me, that I've kind of kept as a mantra almost, before a gig or something, is I don't know, one day a year ago, I was I don't know, driving around listening to the radio or something, and somebody was talking about the healing power of music. And
Mm,
so which is kind of what I think you're talking about, essentially. The
yes,
person that came up and talked to
definitely.
Sam, essentially
Yeah.
that's what's going on. And so I try to keep that in mind, because I've experienced, so many times in my life, right, all the time, with
Hmm.
music. So there are uh, many, many more people out there that have the same experiences. So I try to remember that. And yeah, I've had similar experiences even at Republic of Pie.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, in fact, if you don't mind, can I tell you about this one? This came to
Oh,
mind.
please, please, please.
This one about a year ago. Um, got done with the set, did about half of my own songs and half covers and stuff. And this guy comes up to me and he goes, "Thank you so much for your music, because I came in, I'm a writer." He said, "I'm a writer. And I came in here and I was just stuck. And as I listened to your music, I just started writing. And it just freed me to, and thank you. It was just
Wow.
really amazing. So those are worth, that's just worth everything.
Yeah.
Stuff like that happens. And you just
That's
you never know. And probably, for each person that ever tells you about that, there are others that you never hear about it.
yeah. Yeah. That's right. That it unlocks something.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. I have you listened to John Prine much?
Some, yeah, sadly, in passing.
Yeah.
I got to see him about a couple of
Wow.
years ago at the Hollywood
Wow.
Bowls. A friend of
Oh,
mine,
wow.
yeah, my next door neighbor, uh, got us tickets, and yeah, he was a unique, rare
Yeah.
soul. Yeah,
Yeah. It seemed like he passed right around this time, Corona. Do you know if he was sick or?
yeah, he had coronavirus. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, just like passed a couple days ago.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's wild. That's wild. Yeah, I hadn't listened to him, but he's been in the news lately.
yeah.
And so this morning actually I've been up for a little while, and yeah, I thought I'll give it a shot. I've been seeing some different songwriters post like they were playing covers of his writing and things, and
Yeah.
all right, and then I heard a couple songs I recognized, but I never knew that it was John Prine. So
Hmm.
um but man, I was listening to a few songs, and I was kind of analyzing it, like, oh wow, like really good lyrics and stuff. And then all of a sudden, Clay, oh, what's that one? Clay Birds, Clay.
I'm not sure. I'm not that familiar with this stuff either.
Yeah, it's one of his more popular ones. It's called Clay Pigeons.
Okay.
Yeah, and so that song came on, and I was analyzing the music, and then all of a sudden that song came on, and I lost like 3 minutes or so. I was in my head,
Huh.
and 3 minutes later, I was like deep into my own like confusion about some something that I needed to process.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I was like, this is a great song. Right? Because right, I didn't even it just unlocked something. It was like, hey,
Yeah.
and my brain just started like processing something that I needed to process.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I started listening to lyrics, and I was like, oh yeah, yeah. And then I put it on repeat for a while.
Cool. Yeah. I know music can do that. And thank goodness it can, right? Yeah. And yeah, John, I plan on diving into John Prine a little bit, to get some stuff that I've missed, you know.
Yeah, I'd say you could start with that song, Clay Pigeons. And then he actually put out an album recently in,
Hmm.
in 2018. Did you see him before or after that show?
I think I saw him right before, maybe a year before, something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. So this seems like it's called The Tree of Forgiveness.
Hmm.
And there's a song on there. I listened to the album this morning. There's a song on there called Summer's End.
Hmm.
Yeah, and that was a keeper too.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, do you
I'll
know
have to
how
check
do
that
you know
out.
how old he was?
I think I just read he was 73.
73.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you could hear it in this last album, and you
Yeah.
could hear some gold.
Yeah. And you knew he was a postman.
Well, no, I
Yeah.
didn't.
So yeah, yeah. I mean, I know a little bit about, because I've read, here and there, but he went to Vietnam, or no,
Mm,
sorry, he was in the service during the Vietnam era. I don't know if he was in Nam, but came home and he got a job as a postal
mm.
worker, like a mailman, and he
Wow.
started writing songs, and
Wow.
got discovered, and there it went. So he kind of, grassroots, talk about
Yeah.
grassroots beginnings there, right?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Um, how did you start songwriting?
3 or 4 years ago, I guess I just started thinking, maybe I could write some songs, So I kind of gave it a shot.
Mm,
So yeah, my friend Doug and I were, we get together and play like almost every Friday morning. Not this Friday morning, but didn't work out today. But and we'd done that for a long time, and we were starting to play out a little bit. And I remember at one point, maybe 5 years ago, I said, I think I'm going to try to write. I'm going to try to write a song or two. And
mm.
he said, "Oh, okay, whatever." And so I tried my hand at it and just kind of found that I could kind of do it a little. I mean, I could get some songs, whether
Yeah.
I can do it or not, that's another thing. But so I just kind of started. Um, um, it seemed, interesting to try to put my own thoughts, experiences, and connect it with music, and
Mm,
just seemed like a challenge and kind of a meaningful thing to try to do. So I guess that's
yeah.
started.
Well, I'm certainly glad that you went for it.
Thank you. You're kind.
Yeah.
You're
Oh man.
kind.
Oh, it's great. It's good. It's good pie eating music for sure at the Republic of Pie.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. So, and you teach. How long have you been teaching?
I teach philosophy at College
Hmm.
of the Canyons, and I've been teaching there for about 20 years.
Oh wow, awesome.
Yeah.
Has it made it into any of your songs, or does it kind of inspire your songwriting?
Hmm. Interesting question. I don't think. Well, teaching it. I guess what I would say is, I imagine some philosophical ideas have made their way in some of my songs. Yeah, I'm
Mm,
pretty sure that's probably true, just kind of generally. But so in that sense, yes. In that sense, probably, but not by not by not specifically talking about some philosopher or something, but probably maybe just in the way that I look at things, I suppose.
mm, yeah. And so you started playing. Did you play guitar already, or you kind of had already knew some guitar like 4 years ago or so?
Oh yeah, I've played guitar for a long, long time. I took lessons when I was in fourth grade,
Oh,
and
okay. Yeah.
and then like a lot of kids do, you put it down, you pick it back up again, put it down, pick it back up again. So yeah, so that through my childhood, high school, college, kind of just spurts putting it down, spurts playing, and then for a long, long time didn't play much at all because um, Mary and I got married, had kids, started
Hmm.
careers, all kinds of stuff, and just didn't have
Yeah.
time. And then about 12, 13 years ago, I pulled it out. Oops. I pulled it out again, and I still remember specifically that summer I pulled it out. I thought, this is so fun. I should keep doing this.
Yeah.
And so that was about 13 years ago, and yeah, I've been playing. Haven't put it down since.
Yeah. And you play with thumb picks, right? Or thumb and a finger pick, or just the.
I play with a thumb pick, and I do finger picking, but thumb pick, and I have some acrylics.
Oh, that's right.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Let Mary get that. There you go. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, thumb pick and acrylics on my fingers, on 3 fingers. Yeah.
And that's something. Have you kind of always been into that style, or you just picked that up recently?
Well, yeah, I've been into it for a long time, probably since my college days. One of my musical heroes is James Taylor. He is
Yes.
my number one musical hero, and he plays like that. So
Ah.
when I was in college, I still remember this, when I bought a book, a music, like a book of his songs, and it actually had, back then, had tablature. This is back in like the early 70s, mid 70s. And I actually sat down by myself and I kind of figured out how it worked.
Mm,
And I figured out how to play some of his stuff. And, um, and that's really helped a lot.
yeah.
So that's kind of how I learned that. I kind of taught myself
Hmm.
by tablature and kind of listening and, you
Yeah,
know.
it's interesting. Yeah, I taught myself guitar too. I had piano lessons, but
Hmm.
self-taught guitar, and I think there's something about that. Like if you have the motivation to teach yourself something,
Hmm.
it's powerful. It's like because
Yeah,
it's so hard. It's really, really hard to learn anything, I think.
yeah,
I mean, I think it takes a lot of effort and faith. You're kind of yeah, to just to try
yeah,
to get up and do something can be really tough no matter what it is. And so I think
yeah.
when it's easy like that, you just do it. I think you don't want to take that lightly, right?
No, no, I agree. It's actually kind of, I think it's somewhat unusual,
Hmm.
but I think it's when you're kind of driven and and it takes a lot of discipline
Yeah,
to sit down and get yourself, work at it hard enough to actually learn it,
yeah.
because yeah, for me it didn't come easy. I mean, it was kind of hard. And what's really kind of interesting too is I found that not that many people do well. I gotta qualify this, but there are some amazing finger picking guitarists out there, flamenco and all kinds of people who are just radically, just outrageously talented, right?
Yeah.
So I'm kind of acknowledging those folks and then I'm moving them off the stage. But there aren't once I found that once I learned some of those James Taylor songs, those early James Taylor songs, that some of them were pretty somewhat challenging. But like a lot of other
Yeah.
stuff was like, oh, that's not bad at all. I can
Hmm.
do that.
Yep. Yep.
So I've been kind of surprised in my later years, like, wow, I learned some of the hardest stuff at the beginning,
Mm, mm. Wow. That's kind of
But of
cool.
course, again, I'm putting those like professional, unbelievably, just talented. They can do anything on the keyboard. Those are like, they're in like stratosphere that I can't even ever touch, right? So I'm not talking about
Yeah.
that stuff. I'm
Yeah.
talking about kind of normal stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I feel like that was a really good strategy if you don't quit.
Yes.
Like, right? I mean, like, probably most people would have quit because they would have just been like, oh, guitar is harder than I thought. But
Yeah.
you kept going, I think, because you love it.
Yeah.
And then, and now it's like, oh, wow, I didn't just learn guitar. Like, I actually, I like, yeah, guitar
Yeah.
and some other techniques that other people haven't. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But you're right. If you love it, it's kind of like, I mean, I think that's the bottom line. If you
Mm,
love it, like you did with learning piano, you just keep doing it because you love it, and
yeah.
it's so you're kind of driven inside somehow to do it because you just enjoy it.
Yeah. I think that's when I figured I would do this full time, no matter what kind of consequences I would have in the economic world or et cetera, right?
Hmm.
The kind of there's other temptations, if you will, too, right? Like my parents always, I had heard about the musicians that got into drug abuse and all of these things, and so I was aware of that too. But I think making that decision when I would just realize I would wake up in the morning and I want to play music. And sometimes, right, you go 6 hours, 8, 10, all day. And then I wake up the next morning and I still want to play music. And
Yeah.
so after that, after having that happen for years, it's kind of like, all right, let's give this a shot.
It's a good sign. Yeah, it seems like you were meant to be connected with music.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. So, and then singing for you, uh, so have you been singing for a while then too, or?
Well, yeah, I grew up, singing with the radio all the time,
Yep.
right? And I was in choirs and all that kind of stuff through, church choirs and other choirs and stuff growing up. And then, yeah, I went to grad school, and I was in grad school for like 15 years. I did a bunch of graduate degrees, and that was I kind of lost touch with music for probably
Mm,
15, 20 years in there.
yeah.
But still, of course, still sang, sometimes around the radio. But um, then when I started playing my guitar again, kind of started singing a little bit. And then about 5 years ago, I just wasn't happy with how I could sing, and started taking
Mm.
lessons.
Oh, wow.
So I've been taking vocal lessons for about 4 or 5 years now.
Yeah.
So that helped a lot. Helped a lot because I didn't really know how to sing, and I'm not
Mm.
saying that I'm a perfect technique now or anything, but kind of have the idea, and that helped a great deal. So, and that's been just fun, so fun.
Yeah. What are some tips? What have you been learning?
Well, I mean, I mean the way that I think of it for myself, the way I just kind of envision it is, and this is like really simplistic, I know, but posture. Got to
Yeah.
start with posture.
Mm.
Breathe, breathe. Got to breathe. Get a
Yeah.
big breath.
Yeah.
Support, placement,
Mm.
and articulate. That's kind of start from my
Oh.
feet and just kind of move out. That's kind of my thought.
Mm.
So yeah, learning how to kind of breathe um, and breathe and support
Mm.
and sort of how should I say uh, manipulate what's going on in your throat a little bit in your where your vocal cords are, or kind of
Mm.
whatever you want to call this. Um, yeah, those things really helped.
Yeah, you always seem very relaxed when you sing.
Wow, that's a compliment. I mean, I must be putting on a good facade because I mean, the more I do it on stage, the more relaxed you get. But still,
Mm.
you get you're always hoping it goes okay. But I think what maybe you see is that the love of the music, maybe, and just
Mm.
the relaxing into the song
Mm.
is kind of, I think I think what happens, which is also connected with the love of the music. I
Yeah.
think because that's where you kind of that's kind of where you want to live, and so
Mm.
when you get there, it's good. I mean, it feels good. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And you can kind of transmit that energy.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Yeah, I guess you can. It's been really interesting to kind of observe that a little bit.
Yeah, I used to teach music at a school, and we would have assemblies, right? And it was junior high, high school, and they're just chaos, absolute chaos, right? And
Right.
they just come in and they're all like pushing each other down stairs
Yeah,
uh,
energy, just energy up.
and
Of course.
talking like 4 times louder than they need to people like right here, right?
Right.
And so I'm on the piano, right? And 5 minutes before they come in, I'm just prepared, right? I'm just like, I'm trying to find the most relaxing chord progression,
Oh, right,
right?
right. Oh,
So
right.
that when they come in, I can just like, and it was kind of an experiment, a little science experiment for me because
Yeah.
yeah, because they're coming in chaos and sometimes you see the music can have like an impact and sometimes, it can soothe the situation, but other times yeah, it's just kind of you gotta let the chaos be
Right.
chaos, and it's fun too. Or you could join in, right? And then I'll just start,
Yeah.
you know, um,
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah. Wow. I bet that was an interesting science experiment.
yeah. I think that's kind of what happens with film too, like film composers do that really well, right? Because they're just watching this scene go by, and they're playing their keyboard or whatever they're playing, trying to complement the scene, trying to just
Yeah,
emphasize the right emotion.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and right, songwriters do that too, because in live settings, right, it's like you're looking out at a room and you're like, okay, what's going on here? Like, man, I was always deathly afraid of playing bars because I just it was hard to find that music that was gonna
Yeah.
emphasize what everybody wanted. Yeah, it's
Hmm.
party music. Turn up. And I like kind of knowing how music works a little bit. Like that makes me really comfortable. Is that kind of for you too? Do you like music theory? Do you kind of get into that at all, or more just by listening?
Well, I like the little bit of theory that I know. I like it. I mean, I
Mm,
wish I knew more. Yeah, I'd love to know more and more and more. But I'm probably fairly much of a novice with that. I mean, I actually I took some lessons from a guy named Paul Asbell, who's a really good guitarist.
mm,
He's from I think he lives in Vermont, and we did it by Skype. And I learned that he kind of taught me chord structures and you know the different notes and what notes are in the chords and how you go from a major chord to other. You move this note to get to the minor and blah blah blah, that kind of stuff. And
mm.
that was really fun. I mean, I love that stuff.
Like inversions, huh?
Yeah, yeah, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And how to construct a chord, or how to kind of, you're playing something that sounds good, how to figure out what that chord is, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I really like that, but I don't, I wish I knew more. So I'm not really, I'm no expert there, but,
Mm.
have a smattering.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Enough to get by.
yeah.
That's cool. So have you picked up other instruments? Anything that you're wanting to learn?
Mm. I'm pretty much a one instrument guy, but
Mm.
I'd love to play. I've always wanted to play I've wished I could play um, the mandolin
Ooh.
and the banjo,
Yeah.
um, that kind of stuff. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I'd love to be able to. I'd love to learn how to play that stuff. But even more so, I'd love to be in a band where I have. I think we talked about this, where I've got
Yeah.
like fiddle, mandolin, pedal steel.
Ooh.
Those. I'd love to be. I'd love
Oh
to. I'd
man.
love to have that stuff. But it's kind of a dream.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh man, you can maybe see my finger will point to it. Those are little slides. And yeah, I borrowed a glass slide
Oh, nice.
from Brandon actually. And then
Yeah.
I found this brass, I believe, the gold one, I think. Yeah. Um slide. And so we've been playing around a lot actually. That was one of
Oh,
the
cool.
first long jams I had in this lockdown. It was
Hmm.
I think I went 6 hours, and then I woke up the next day and there it was. I was ready. I went another 4 hours or something. It
Wow.
just my everything was sore, right? Because I'm just huddled over the guitar, and all I'm just thinking is like, make this sound better. This needs to sound better. It's hard. Have you tried slide? Have you tried playing with a slide?
I haven't. No.
So much string noise.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it's. I'm not surprised by that. Yeah.
It gets caught. It gets caught on the other
Yeah.
strings and the
Yeah.
open strings, right? So you have to kind of know what key you're in because it's going to hit other pitches. Yeah, it was. I feel a little better about it, but I'm really excited because I think we can do something with your music with it.
Cool.
Yeah, yeah. I think
Cool.
'cause it has kind of
Fun.
that Western blue kind of bluesy vibe too, though. But yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, man. I feel like you're halfway there with those instruments. At least they're fretted. That's what I like to encourage myself with that too. It's like, well, I play a string instrument, so like, it's
that's
just
that's optimism.
I know I tried that approach with violin and man, it's been hard. I didn't think about that. No frets though, and a bow. There's all sorts of things going on with the violin.
Yeah. Oh man, no kidding.
Yeah, that's cool. Banjo's always fun. Yeah. You know any banjo artists that you like?
Oh, Bella Fleck.
Oh, good. I'm gonna write this down. Good, because man, I've needed some of this. How do you spell it?
Bela, and then Fleck.
All right. Mm,
Yeah, he does. I'm not a I'm not, I don't know all of his music, but at all. But he's just like a virtuoso. He can
mm.
play anything on the banjo, and he goes from country kind of stuff over to he'll do classical music on the banjo.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he's like he's fantastic.
That sounds phenomenal.
And then the guy on the steel, Jerry Douglas.
Ooh, Jerry
Jerry
Douglas.
Douglas. He plays with Alison Krauss,
Uh-huh. Yep.
who I love. I love Alison Krauss. Yeah,
Yeah.
and all the
Beautiful.
stuff she does. What a great voice. And yeah, they're pretty good.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think just one more question.
Yeah.
What are would you say some of your kind of hopes with music? What do you kind of want to do with, especially maybe songwriting too, in particular?
Well, it'd be fun to we've been doing a little recording at the studio there,
Yep.
and it'd be fun to get a few of those things up on Spotify and places like that. It'd be kind of fun. I want to do some more recording. I've got that recent song about my grandpa. I want to record that,
Yes.
um, and some other things. And I kind of want to get to, it'd be really fun, I think, to play at um, I, I like wine,
Mm,
and I like to visit beautiful wineries that have beautiful, just beautiful surroundings, natural beauty.
yeah.
It'd be fun to play some of those,
Yeah.
just because it's so beautiful, just so utterly beautiful. And I think my music actually kind of fits, but
Totally.
I haven't had success yet getting other people to kind of say, okay, yeah, let's do it. I've given my card out to a few places, but probably too far away.
Oh man, I
This,
got the guy for you,
this
Steve
really isn't
Key.
wine country, but down here. But you got the guy for me?
I got a guy for you, Steve Key.
Okay, yeah,
He's phenomenal. He's a great musician himself, plays folk music.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I'll connect you. That's easy.
please.
Yeah, he got us a couple gigs. The ones I think I was letting you know, Sculptera.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
Paso Robles. Yeah,
Yeah, beautiful sculptures. But yeah, they got the wine going and everything. Um, and that's a weekly gig. Not right now, unfortunately.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh
Right.
man, how's that been for you? Kind of not playing.
Oh, it's been hard. I mean, it's a definite um, void,
Mm,
in my life a little bit, because I was playing at least a couple, 3 times out a month, and
yep.
it's not that much, but for me that's pretty good, and it's fun, and kind of keeps you honest,
Yeah.
because you're going to be in front of people. You got to keep up your stuff,
Yeah.
and so and it's just fun. So it's been, you know, I, I I'm looking forward to getting back to that when everything calms down.
Definitely. Have you played your set since kind of the lockdown, or like have you just kind of gone through your material?
Some, not everything. I'm actually trying to learn new songs. That's
Yeah.
mostly what I'm using the time that I don't have to get ready for a gig to learn new songs, to try to
Yes.
write the song. So that's kind of what I've been doing, more. But
Mm,
but also realizing I better keep that stuff up, because when it comes back, I got to be able to play that stuff. You
yeah.
know,
Yeah, it's a weird balance, right?
it is.
But
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. Like I haven't had motivation to go through the set, right? Like I normally would.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't think I've gone through it once.
Yeah, I
Uh,
really haven't either. I mean, I've picked away a little bit, but but not, I've had the thought I should do that, but I haven't done it. So
Well, some of it I feel like is good for us, right? It like you
yeah,
said, it keeps us honest and
definitely.
keeps things, and it kind of reminds you where you've been,
Yeah.
which I think inspires the next song.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's always kind of this balance of kind of keeping, for me, it's kind of this balance of keeping up the stuff you've got, but also kind of moving forward, and and sometimes it's a little hard to find the time to do all that, anyway, that's kind of the balance that I find.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then you mentioned Spotify. Do you have, it seems like there's a lot of opinions, about Spotify especially from musicians. What's kind of your experience of, it's been, I mean, maybe the last 5 years, I guess, maybe 10, but just like pretty different, right? It's all kind of a whole new world as far as
Mhm,
listening to music goes.
mhm,
Any thoughts on that?
mhm, mhm. Um, well, I still like putting a vinyl record on a record
Mm,
player. There's still something really cool about that. But but uh, but Spotify, even though I want to be sensitive to the whole issue about paying musicians for things, and I'm not, I really haven't, I don't really, I'm not really, I don't think I'm up on really the status of all that, but because I think musicians should be paid, people who have done some stuff, and they've worked, they should get some compensation for this stuff,
mm,
right?
mm-hmm.
So that seems right to me, but also having the music available to people is just fantastic as well.
Yes.
So so there are great benefits to that, and I guess you probably can make an argument that the fact that the music is available kind of comes back around, and in some way keeps people going with their music, because people like the music, and it's about the people liking the music in the end, maybe.
Yes.
So so I don't know if any of that makes sense, but I've really liked Spotify, and the fact that it can connect me to pretty much anything that I want to listen to.
Mm,
It's fantastic, in that sense.
yeah, totally agree.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
What do you got going for the rest of the day?
Um, just more music. It's another good day for music.
Yeah, see, you're doing the right thing, man. You're just it for because you're just all about the music, man, which is really good. It's a
Well,
good thing.
it keeps me like you said, keeps me honest and gives me something to do.
Yeah.
But I haven't experienced it yet. Like harming, harming something, harming, whether it's harming the earth or harming other people, or I haven't experienced that side of music yet. I'm sure there's always going to be something there. So I think, musicians and songwriters need to stay conscious and aware that what they can do can have negative consequences as well.
Mm,
But yeah, songwriting has just connected me to people like yourself. Um, it's helped me. I think it's helped my brain develop and learn about, um, just like different things that I need to like grow through, right? If I have some sort of weak point, like I get offended easily for something, sometimes I can, while I'm writing a song, it kind of connects me to that point, to that
mm,
weak point.
mm,
And so then I feel like it can be very helpful in that way.
mhm.
And so just keep going. Yeah, I have like maybe an extreme personality when it comes to that. It's like I'll go until it's bad. Like I'll go full send until something goes wrong, until I break something. That's why sports didn't last too long for me, right? Like broke my hip playing soccer,
Oh.
broke my head snowboarding. But man, it's fun.
Mm.
Yeah. So, yep, a little more music today. What about yourself?
That's good. Yeah, hope to do a little more. Hope to get back to that song and try to chip away at it a little bit, and maybe go on a bike ride today if it quits raining. And I'm in the middle of. I've been reading. Oh yeah, one thing I've done. I was on spring break this week. Stuck in the house, but so I started. I was reading. I read a book. I'm reading a book by Toni Morrison
Mm,
called Beloved, and it's really thought provoking. Yeah.
mm,
So yeah, I mean, one thing that something that's really good for sometimes a little bit. I mean, what am I trying to say? There's a beneficial aspect of reading like good novels for
mm.
songwriting, I think,
Oh, wow.
because you get
Mm,
it just makes you think about a good novel, right? Can just get you to think about things you wouldn't normally think of, or make connections with ideas in ways that maybe you hadn't, or just remind yourself about some things that you care about, or something like that. And I think
mm.
it could be it's really human. It's really a human connecting thing.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I think that's a really good thing to do for songwriters, to read good novels.
Yeah, that is so great. There's actually, I unfortunately, man, I would love to be a reader, but it's a slow roll for me. I think someday.
Yeah, well,
I think having so much film in front of me my whole life,
yeah,
right, just seeing story with visuals it's kind of hard to adapt back to something without that. But
yeah.
I think you're right. It's important. I did read a quote though, about what you're saying. I think it's always stuck with me. It's that if you can live one life, right, and that's fine, but if you read great novels, you can live many lives.
Mm.
It's like, whoa.
I like that. I like that. Yeah, that's true. I think that's true. But with films as well. I mean, I like film as well. Film can significantly do the same thing. You
Mm,
know, so it's the same idea, I think, right? But I'm a slow reader myself. I'm not
mm,
a fast reader.
yeah.
Uh, it's worth it.
Mm. Well, maybe
Yeah,
you'll have to send me some of your favorite books.
yeah, I
Yeah,
will.
that'd be great. That
Yeah,
would be,
sure.
yeah. Yeah. And bike riding too. That made it finally made one of my songs. The first line is bike up the beach. Bike is a weird thing to sing though. It's a weird word to sing.
Huh?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
right? Because it's
bike.
not bike.
That K.
Yeah, and it's
What do you,
quick.
and what do
So
you
it's
do
hard.
after the K, right? Bike. And then, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of
Wow.
quick. It's almost
Interesting.
like the word that I'm singing is bike up, right? So it
Huh?
has the whole thing, like bike up.
Yeah.
So there's like, but yeah, I'm still kind of on the fence about it. But the act of bicycling, of biking, it's so inspiring. So I'm not surprised that it made a song. But now
That's
the
cool.
problem is singing it and justifying how it sounds.
That's funny. You'll figure out a way. I'm sure you will.
Yeah, very exciting times. All right, Chris. Well, this has been great. I definitely look forward to the next one and your songs getting recorded.
Thanks,
So
Nathan. It's been fun.
yeah,
Very fun to talk. It's always fun to talk to you. You're an encouraging person, and a thought-provoking person, and it's always a pleasure. So thanks.
beautiful. All right, first Atelier talk. That's a wrap.
All right.
Peace.